Vihari. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrayakacharya Astotra Satasishima His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrayakacharya Astotra Satasishima His Divine Grace Rishi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki. Prem Si Koho Sri Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki. Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardham Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Sri Navadvip Dham Ki. Sri Mayapur Dham Ki. Iskoni Dwarka Ki. Yamuna Mai Ganga Mai Ki. Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki, Prasadam Distribution Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki, the appearance days of Advaita Prabhu Ki. Hare Krishna. So today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam text, Canto 3, Chapter 28, text 35. Mukta-āśrayam yarhi nirviṣayaṁ viraktam. Srayam yarhi nirviṣayaṁ viraktam. Mukta-āśrayam yarhi nirviṣayaṁ viraktam. Nirvāṇam ṛcchati manaḥ sayat. Nirvāṇam ṛcchati manaḥ sahasā yathārciḥ. ātmānam atra puruṣo avyavadhānam ekam. Anvīkṣate pratinivṛtta-guṇa-pravāhaḥ. mukta-āśrayam yarhi nirviṣayam viraktam. Nirvāṇam ṛcchati manaḥ sahasā yathārciḥ. ātmānam atra puruṣo avyavadhānam ekam. anvīkṣate pratinivṛtta-guṇa-pravāhaḥ. Prabhu's mukta-āśrayam yarhi nirviṣayam viraktam. Nirvāṇam ṛcchati manaḥ sahasā yathārciḥ. ātmānam atra puruṣo. Mukta-āśrayam yarhi nirviṣayam viraktam. Nirvāṇam ṛcchati manaḥ sahasā yathārciḥ. ātmānam atra puruṣo vyavadhānam ekam. anvīkṣate pratinivṛtta-guṇa-pravāhaḥ. Vaishnavas. Mukta-āśrayam yarhi nirviṣayam viraktam. nirvāṇam ṛcchati manaḥ sahasā yathārciḥ. ātmānam atra puruṣo vyavadhānam ekam. anvīkṣate pratinivṛtta-guṇa-pravāhaḥ. Anybody else? Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. So word by word translation. Mukta-āśrayam, situated in liberation. Yarhi, at which time nirviṣayaṁ, detached from sense objects. Viraktam, indifferent. Nirvāṇam, extinction. Ṛcchati, obtains. Manaḥ, the mind. Sahasā, immediately. Yathā, like. Arciḥ, the flame. ātmānam, the mind. Atra, at this time. Puruṣaḥ, a person. Avyavadhānam, without separation. Ekam, one. Anvīkṣate, experiences. Pratinivṛtta, freed. Guṇa-pravāhaḥ, from the flow of material qualities. Translation. When the mind is thus completely free from all material contamination and detached from material objectives, it is just like the flame of a lamp. At that time, the mind is actually dovetailed with that of the Supreme Lord and is experienced as one with Him because it is free from the interactive flow of the material qualities. Purport. In the material world, the activities of the mind are acceptance and rejection. As long as the mind is in material consciousness, it must be forcibly trained to accept meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when one is actually elevated to loving the Supreme Lord, the mind is automatically absorbed in thought of the Lord. In such a position, a yogi has no other thought than to serve the Lord. This dovetailing of the mind with the desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called nirvāṇam, or making the mind one with the Supreme Lord. The best example of nirvāṇa is cited in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, the mind of Arjuna deviated from Krishna's. Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight, but Arjuna did not want to. So there was disagreement. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna dovetailed his mind with Krishna's desire. This is called oneness. This oneness, however, did not cause Arjuna and Krishna to lose their individualities. The Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand this. They think that oneness necessitates loss of individuality. Actually, however, we find in Bhagavad Gita that individuality is not lost. When the mind is completely purified in love of Godhead, the mind becomes the mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind at that time does not act separately, nor does it act without inspiration to fulfill the desires of the Lord. The individual liberated soul has no other activity. Pratinivṛtta-guṇa-pravāhaḥ. In the conditioned state, the mind is always engaged in activities impelled by the three modes of the material world. But in the transcendental stage, the material modes cannot disturb the mind of the devotees. The devotees has no other concern than to satisfy the desires of the Lord. That is the highest stage of perfection, called nirvana or nirvana mukti. At this stage, the mind becomes completely free from material desire. Yathārciḥ. Arciḥ means flame. When a lamp is broken or the oil is finished, we see that the flame of the lamp goes out. But according to the scientist's understanding, the flame is not extinguished. It is conserved. This is conservation of energy. Similarly, when the mind stops functioning on the material platform, it is conserved in the activities of the Supreme Lord. The Mayavadi philosopher's conception of cessation of the function of the mind is explained here. Cessation of the mental functions means cessation of activities conducted under the influence of the three modes of material nature. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Gaur Govinda Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirviṣaya Shunyavadi Paschatya Satarine Mukhaṁ Karoti Vachalam Pangulanga Yategri Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam. So, since today is a very special day, it's Sri Advaita Acharya's appearance day, I would like to speak just a little bit about this verse, and then I found from Chaitanya Charitamrita some interesting narrations about Advaita, Lord Advaita, and so please bear with me. We are fasting today. There's a fast day, so there's no breakfast. So maybe if we go a little bit extra time, wouldn't hurt. So in the verse here, well, in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila's instructions on devotional service, he's carefully and very nicely preparing. Well, he's instructing his mother, Devahuti, and all of us, ultimately, any aspiring yogi or meditator, how to actually do the right thing and don't speculate. He wants to make sure that everybody knows that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, has a form. He's a person. He has a mind. He has senses. He has desires. All these interactions are there, not like the Mayavadi philosophers proposes. So this, I find this very fascinating because the example that Srila Prabhupada gives, that Arjuna becomes convinced. First he says that he was arguing with Krishna, or giving some arguments why he was not going to fight. He didn't want to fight. But when he ultimately was convinced by the teachings of Lord Krishna, his mind became one with the Lord. And this is very instructive for all of us, because after all, everybody, all of us, we have a mind that we deal every day, accepting, rejecting, yes, no, yes, no. And that is the position of the conditioned soul. So Arjuna is playing the role of someone who's very conditioned, so Krishna can instruct us. And then, but he agrees, he was convinced. Okay, now I'll do Karishe Vachanantava. First, before that was totally bewildered. And actually in the Bhagavad Gita there is one verse that said, Nasto mohans mriti lavda Tvat prasadam mayachita stitosmi gata sandeha karishe vachanantavad. My dear Lord Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. And now I'm firm, I'm free from doubt. And I'm ready to act under your instructions. And that's actually for all of us, because that's where we're at. So we need the help of the Bhagavad Gita, explained by the Guru, by the teacher. And when we come to that understanding, hopefully we become pure in all our activities and pure devotional service. Then our mind becomes one with the Lord, and no oneness in the way that the Mayavadi philosopher proposes. We don't lose our individuality, says it. We keep our individuality. Krishna is individual, we are individuals. So the spiritual world is full of variety, full of activity. And on the other side, impersonalists, they just want to merge. And that's, for the Vaishnava, is very painful. They don't want to do that. So here, Kapila Dev instructing his mother, Devahuti, and all of us, how we should meditate in the Lord, how should be seeing the Lord. And that will be the success. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is one verse that says, Sri Chaitanya manovistan stapitan jena bhutale swayan rupa kadamahyan dadati swa padantikam. So the prayer is that when will Srila Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter at his lotus feet. He's begging for that. Why? Because Srila Rupa Goswami, the 6 Goswamis, and our Guru's parampara, to our Prabhupada, they all have that understanding. They all become one with the mind of the Lord, in mission, in vision, in spreading Krishna consciousness. So that's for us is something that we had to beg for. How can we focus our mind, and how can we engage all our mind and senses in the service of the Lord? Otherwise, we will be constantly repeating birth and death in this material world. So this is the thought that I have, that I want to share. All of us, we are in the same condition. I mean, those we're practitioners in Krishna consciousness. We have a big mission to do. Lord Krishna wants all these conditioned souls to be liberated. So we need to hear from the spiritual masters, from the sadhus, focus our mind, and don't become distracted. Because this world in Kali Yuga is offering so many distractions. They call them the ocean of mass distractions. So many distractions. That's why when one of the prayers, Queen Kunti Devi is also mentioning that, she says that, Tvayi me ananya visaya matir madhu patet sakrit ratin udvahata ada gange bogam udambanti. O Lord Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anything or anyone else. Yes. So we want to focus our mind. Ekeha kurunandana. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West to preach his Krishna consciousness, he was focused. Actually, he was inspired by one of the verses of Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur. Vyavadhānam ka buddhi ekeha kurunandana. Samado savidhyate. Can't remember the other 2 lines. But that he's constantly focused. So that's what we want to be. And so today, being the auspicious day of Advaita Acharya, I would like to share with you some interesting narration. Here, bear with me. See. Okay, we're gonna. Since we already sang the song this morning, and because of the time factor, I'm not gonna sing the whole song, but I want to concentrate in number 4. So, you're welcome to also follow. If we just do one line. Doya koro sitapati Advaita gosani Tava kripa balepai Chaitanya nitai Doya koro sitapati Advaita gosai Tava kripa balepai Chaitanya nita. One more time. Doya koro sitapati Advaita gosai Tava kripa balepai Chaitanya nita. We do the higher note. Doya koro sitapati Advaita gosai Tava kripa balepai Chaitanya nitai Doya koro sitapati Advaita gosai Tava kripa balepai Chaitanya nitai. One more time. Doya koro sitapati Advaita gosai Tava kripa balepai Chaitanya nita. Okay. So now we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 6, the glories of Sri Advaita Acharya. We're not going to do the whole, and we're going to skip the purpose, unfortunately. So beautiful, but again, the time factor. Please bear with me. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Text number 1, not reading the Bengali, just the translation. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Advaita Acharya, whose activities are all wonderful. By his mercy, even a foolish person can describe his characteristics. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In 5 verses, I have described the principles of Lord Nityananda. Then, in the following 2 verses, I describe the glories of Sri Advaita Acharya. Lord Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. Because he is no different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the call to devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. Sri Advaita Acharya is indeed directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. His glory is beyond the conception of ordinary living beings. Mahavishnu performs all the functions for the creation of the universes. Sri Advaita Acharya is his direct incarnation. That puruṣa creates and maintains with his external energy. He creates innumerable universes in his pastimes. By his will, he manifests himself in unlimited forms, in which he enters each and every universe. Sri Advaita-charya is a plenary part of that Purusha, and so is not different from him. Indeed, Sri Advaita-charya is not separate, but is another form of that Purusha. He, Advaita-charya, helps in the pastimes of the Purusha, with whose material energy and by whose will he creates innumerable universes. Text 12. Being a reservoir of all auspicious attributes, Sri Advaita-charya is all auspicious for the world. His characteristics, activities, and names are always auspicious. Mahavishnu creates the entire material world with millions of his parts, energies, and incarnations. Just as the external energy consists of two parts, the efficient cause, nimitta, and the material cause, upadana, maya, being the efficient cause, and pradana, the material cause, so Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, assumes two forms to create the material world with the efficient and material causes. And there is like 6, almost 7 pages. Srila Prabhupada gives a long purport if somebody would like to read that. Text number 16. Lord Vishnu himself is the efficient nimitta cause of the material world, and Narayana, in the form of Sri Advaita, is the material cause, upadana. Lord Vishnu, in his efficient aspect, glances over the material energy, and Sri Advaita, as the material cause, creates the material world. Although the Sankhya philosophy accepts that the material ingredients are the cause, the creation of the world never arises from dead matter. The Lord infuses the material ingredients with his own creative potency. Then, by the power of the Lord, creation takes place. In the form of Advaita, he infuses the material ingredients with creative energy. Therefore, Advaita is the original cause of creation. Sri Advaita-charya is the creator of millions and millions of universes, and by his expansions as Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, he maintains each and every universe. Sri Advaita is the principal limb, anga, or Narayana. Srimad Bhagavatam speaks of limb, anga, as a plenary portion, amsa, of the Lord. O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not therefore my father, Narayana? Narayana refers to one whose abode is in the water, born from Nara, Garbhodakasaya Vishnu. And that Narayana is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and are not creations of Maya. And this is a purport. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-14. Text number 24. This verse describes that the limbs and plenary portions of the Lord are all spirituals. They have no relationship with the material energy. Why has Sri Advaita been called a limb and not a part? The reason is that limb implies greater intimacy. Sri Advaita, who is a reservoir of virtues, is the main limb of Mahavishnu. His full name is Advaita, for he is identical in all respects with the Lord. Translation. As he had formerly created all the universes, now he descended to introduce the path of bhakti. He delivered all living beings by offering the gift of Krishna bhakti. He explained the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the light of devotional service. Since he has no other occupation than to teach devotional service, his name is Advaita-charya. He is the spiritual master of all devotees and is the most revered personality in the world. By a combination of these two names, His name is Advaita. This is very short, but read purple. Sri Advaita is the prime spiritual master of the Vaishnavas, and he is worshipable by all Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas must follow in the footsteps of Advaita, for by so doing, one can actually engage in devotional service to the Lord. Text 31. Since he is a limb or part of the Lotus Eye Supreme Lord, he also bears the name Kamalaksha. His associates have the same bodily features as the Lord. They all have 4 arms and are dressed in yellow garments like Narayan. Sri Advaita is the principal limb of the Supreme Lord. His truths, names, and attributes are all wonderful. He worshipped Krishna with tulasi leaves and water of the Ganges and called for him in a loud voice. Thus Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on earth, accompanied by his personal associates. It is through him, Advaita, that Lord Chaitanya spread the Sankirtan movement, and through him that he delivers the world. Text 36, translation. The glory and attributes of Advaita are unlimited. How can the insignificant living entities fathom them? Sri Advaita is a principal limb of Lord Chaitanya. Another limb of the Lord is Nityananda Prabhu. The devotees headed by Srivas are his smaller limbs. They are like his hands, face, and eyes, and his disc and other weapons. Text 39. With all of them, Lord Chaitanya performed his pastimes, and with them he spread his mission. Thinking he, Sri Advaita, thinking as a disciple of Sri Madhavendra Puri, Lord Chaitanya obeys him, respecting him as his spiritual master. Text 41. To maintain the proper etiquette for the principles of religion, Lord Chaitanya bows down at the lotus feet of Sri Advaita with reverential prayers and devotion. Text 42. Sri Advaita, however, considers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu his master, and he thinks of himself as a servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He forgets himself in the joy of that conception and teaches all living entities, you are a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I read the purple here. The transcendental devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so ecstatic that even the Lord himself plays the part of a devotee, forgetting himself to be the Supreme. He personally teaches the whole world how to render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 44. The conception of servitude to Sri Krishna generates such an ocean of joy in the soul that even the joy of oneness with the Absolute, if multiplied 10 million times, could not compare to a drop of it. He says, Nityananda and I are servants of Lord Chaitanya. Nowhere else is there such a joy as that which is tasted in this emotion of servitude. Text 46. The most beloved goddess of fortune resides on the chest of Sri Krishna, and yet she too earnestly prays and begs for the joy of service at his feet. Text 47. All the associates of Lord Krishna, such as Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Sukha, and Sanat Kumara, are very pleased in the sentiment of servitude. Text 48. Sri Nityananda, the wandering mendicant, is the foremost of all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. He became mad in the ecstasy of service to Lord Chaitanya. Srivas, Haridas, Ramdas, Gadadhar, Murari, Mukunda, Chandrasekhara, and Bhakreshwara are all glorious and are all learned scholars. But the sentiment of servitude to Lord Chaitanya makes them mad in ecstasy. Text 51. Thus they dance, sing, and laugh like madmen, and they instruct everyone, just be loving servants of Lord Chaitanya. Sri Advaita Acharya thinks, Lord Chaitanya considers me his spiritual master, yet I feel myself to be only his servant. Text 53. Love for Krishna has this one unique effect. It imbues superiors, equals, and inferiors with the spirit of service to Lord Krishna. Text 54. For evidence, please listen to the examples described in the revealed scriptures, which are corroborated by the realizations of great souls. Translation. Although no one is a more respected elder for Krishna than Nanda Maharaj in Braja, who in transcendental paternal love has not knowledge that his son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, still ecstatic love makes him, what to speak of others, feel himself to be a servant of Lord Krishna. Text 57. He too prays for attachment and devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, as the words from his own mouth give evidence. My dear Uddhava, this is Nanda Maharaj speaking, hear me. In truth, Krishna is my son, but even if you think that he's God, I will still bear towards him my own feelings for my son. May my mind be attached to your Lord Krishna. Text 60. May our minds be attached to the lotus feet of your Lord Krishna. May our thoughts chant his holy names, and may our bodies lie prostrated before him. Text 61. Wherever we wander in the material universe under the influence of karma, by the will of the Lord, may our auspicious activities cause our attraction to Lord Krishna to increase. Text 62. Lord Krishna's friends in Vrindavan, headed by Srimad Sridham, have pure fraternal affection for Lord Krishna and have no idea of his opulences. Although they fight with him and climb upon his shoulders, they worship his lotus feet in a spirit of servitude. Text 64. Some of the friends of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, massage his feet, and others whose sinful reactions have been destroyed fan him with hands held fans. Text 65-66. Even the beloved girlfriends of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan, the gopis, the dust of whose feet was desired by Sri Uddhava, and who are more dear to Krishna than anyone else, regard themselves as Krishna's maid servants. O Lord, remover of all the afflictions of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, O hero of all women, O Lord, who destroy the pride of your devotees by your sweet, gentle smile, O friend, we are your maid servants. Please fulfill our desires and show us your attractive lotus feet. Text 68. O Uddhava, it is indeed regrettable that Krishna resides in Mathura. Does he remember his father's household affairs and his friends, the cowherd boys? O great soul, does he ever talk about us, his maidservants? When will he lay on our breasts, on our heads, his Guru's scented hand? Text 69 and 70. What to speak of other gopis, even Sri Radhika, who in every respect is the most elevated of them all, and who has bound Sri Krishna forever by her loving attributes, serve his feet as his maid servant. O my Lord, O my husband, O most dearly beloved, O mighty armed Lord, where are you? Where are you? O my friend, reveal yourself to your maid servant, who is very much aggrieved by your absence. Text 72. In Dwarkadam, all the queens headed by Rumini also consider themselves maidservants of Lord Krishna. Text 73. When Jarasandha and other kings, bows and arrows upraised, stood ready to deliver me in charity to Shishupal, he forcibly took me from their midst, and lions, as a lion tastes its share of goats, and sheep. The dust of his Lord's feet is therefore the crown of unconquerable soldiers. May those lotus feet, which are the shelter of the goddess of fortune, be the object of my worship. Knowing me to be performing austerities with the desire to touch his feet, he came with his friend Arjuna and accepted my hand. Yet I am but a maid servant engaged in weeping the floor of the house of Sri Krishna. Text 75. Through austerity and through renunciation, all of attachments we have become maid servants in the home of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is satisfied in himself. Text 76. What to speak of others? Even Lord Baladev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is full of emotions like pure friendship and paternal love. He also considers himself a servant of Lord Krishna. Indeed, who is there who does not have this conception of being a servant of Lord Krishna? Wow. Text 78. He who is Sesha, Sankarshan, with his thousands of mouths, serves Sri Krishna by assuming 10 forms. Text 79. Rudra, who is an expansion of Sadashiva and who appears in unlimited universes, is also a Gunavatar, qualitative incarnation, and is the ornament of all the demigods in the endless universes. Text 80. He also desires only to be a servant of Lord Krishna. Sri Sadashiva always says, I am a servant of Lord Krishna. Text 81. All the emotions, whether those of father, mother, teacher, or friend, are full of sentiments of servitude. That is the nature of love of Krishna. Text 83. We're almost done. Lord Krishna, the one master and the Lord of the universe, is worthy of being served by everyone. Indeed, everyone is but a servant of his servant. That same Lord Krishna has descended as Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone, therefore, is his servant. Some accept him, whereas others do not. Yet everyone is his servant. One who does not accept him, however, will be ruined by his sinful activities. So, text 86. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, and all servants, and a servant of his servants. Etavalina chegaya kunkara gambira, kishanete vasilacharya haina ostira. Translation. Saying this, Advaita Prabhu dances and loudly sings. Then at the next moment, he quietly sits down. The source of the sentiment of servitude is indeed Lord Balaram, the plenary expansion who follows him, are all influenced by that ecstasy. Lord Sankarshan, who is one of his incarnations, always considers himself a devotee. So, it looks like there's so much to go, but this is such a wonderful, narration of how Advaita Acharya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead too, Godhead himself comes to serve. They are the supreme servitors. They are God of Nityananda Prabhu and also Advaita Acharya, but they come to serve Krishna. Ete chansa kalapunsa Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. So they are teaching us that. Here, focus your mind in this. Don't get diverted. Just like Queen Kunti Devi was mentioning in the verse that I was spoken before, that just as the river Ganges flows forever to the ocean without any obstructions, let my mind be drawn to you, Krishna, with no other deviation to anything else or anyone else. Ekeha kurunandana. Just fix your mind like Arjuna did. And that was the verse that we read. Arjuna became one with Krishna in purpose, no one in impersonalism, no existence, no variety, no activity. That's not the Vaishnava philosophy. The Vaishnava philosophy is my mind, my desires are all Krishna's desires. And just like Ambarish Maharaj did, it's a perfect example. Sabai mana Krishna padara vindayor. He said, Vachansi vaikunta gunānuvarana. With his mind, he fixed his mind and upon the lotus feet of the Lord. With his hands, cleansing the temple of the Lord. With his eyes, looking at the beautiful forms of the Lord. And with his vacha, words, glorifying the Lord. With the ears also, his glory, listening to the glorification of the Lord. With the smell, smelling the fragrance offered to the flowers of Lord Krishna. With the tongue, tasting the aroma, of, the flavor of tulsi, the leaves of tulsi. With his legs, walking to pilgrimage, Mayapurdam ki jai, Mayapurdam ki jai, all those beautiful places, Yudvarkadam ki jai, all of them. These legs going to the holy places where Krishna execute his pastimes. And with his head, he bows down his head. He's a king. No one, everybody bows down to the king in the material world, but he, the king, he bows to the King of Kings, the Supreme King, the Raja King. So he's showing us that. And with his desires, because we have full of desires, his desires are no other than the desires of Lord Krishna. And that's becoming one with, not the impersonal way, one with the mission of the Lord. Just Prabhupada, when he came, he became one with the teachings and mission of Lord Chaitanya, like the 6 Goswamis, one with the mission of spreading Krishna consciousness and helping the conditioned souls who are suffering and struggling in this material world. What is the song in the Gopi Gita? Gopi Gita song? Where the gopis are lamenting. Tapakatamitam tapta jivanam tabivitam kamasapasan Sriman Bhagavatam Savanam Mangalam Sriman Attatan Buriye. What is that? Yeah. So Buddhi, what is that? Buddhida, the intelligence, it's like focusing, helping those. So the gopis are glorifying that, these suffering conditioned souls are there, but by hearing your glories and activities, they become alive. So that's our service, to go out and distribute this knowledge, this message, and become one with the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Advaita Prabhu ki jai. Sri Advaita Prabhu ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Lord Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hare Krishna, jai.